Planet Dolan.
What former High Roller Island resort town has been abandoned for over 40 years because of a military coup? What Italian village was drowned under a man-made lake on purpose? From man-made disasters to natural wonders, here are 15 of the most unforgettably bizarre places on Earth. I'm Danger Dolan's mysterious brother, and today I'll be your narrator. Number 15. The Blood Falls are a subglacial lake containing a strange ecosystem that's been frozen and isolated for over 2 million years. A recent fissure in the glacier has caused the contents of that lake to flow out slowly in what appears to be a 5-story blood-red waterfall. And contained within that lake is an ancient community of microbes that have survived in an environment with no light or oxygen and very little heat. It's the closest thing we've ever found to actual primordial ooze. Number 14. Pierfrancesco Orsini was a 16th century Italian prince who had a rough life. He lived through war, saw his best friend killed, and kidnapped and ransomed for years, and then came back just in time for his wife to die. Since he was a bit tortured himself, he expressed that grief by hiring an artist to create a park full of sculptures that are absolute nightmare fuel. At the Park of Monsters, you can see peaceful sculptures like a giant ripping another giant in half, or a war elephant attacking a Roman soldier, or the Mouth of Hell, a screaming ogre's face with a picnic table inside. Number 13. Centralia, Pennsylvania is on fire forever. That's its claim to fame. In 1962, the local government approved a controlled landfill fire in Centralia. Except they forgot that the landfill was a strip mine pit connected to an underground maze of coal mining tunnels. The fire was put out above ground, but underground, the coal mines have been burning for more than 55 years. And there's enough coal to keep it burning for another 250 years. Number 12. Mexico's Cave of the Swords doesn't actually contain any swords. It's a cave of gigantic sword-like crystals. The crystals can measure up to 12 meters long and weigh as much as 55 tons. And the conditions in the cave will let the crystals grow indefinitely. The air temperature is 50 degrees Celsius, but because of the high humidity, it feels like it's over 100 degrees, past the boiling point of water. Number 11. In the 1940s, the Reed Flute Cave was used by Chinese villagers to escape and hide from invading Japanese military forces and air raids. In the years since, it's been studied and explored, and hidden lights have made it into a sort of neon paradise for tourists. Even without the lights, the cave is packed with unusual and beautiful geological formations, but the lights make it truly one of a kind. Number 10. You wouldn't think there would be a European island with an area as secluded and bizarre as Korea's demilitarized zone, but Roraima, Cypress was a lavish seaside resort town for the rich and famous, until 1974 when it became a central battleground between Greek and Turkish forces. After a Greek military coup, the Turkish military invaded the coastal city, causing its entire populace to evacuate. The city remains under Turkish control and has sat abandoned almost exactly as it was more than 40 years ago. It's closed off to everybody except the Turkish military and the occasional journalist or UN representative. Number 9. It kinda looks like a glacier, but there's nothing at all frozen about the cliffs of Pamukkale. They're made from hardened calcium left behind by flowing water over centuries. The pools are mineral enriched, but off limits to tourists. Overuse by tourists in the past dried up and ruined some of the pools, so Pamukkale is more of a hands-off tourist attraction these days. Number 8. Moynak, Uzbekistan is a strange place where you can see fishing ships sitting in the middle of a desert, more than 150 kilometers away from the nearest body of water. The truth is, Moynak used to be a thriving fishing town back in the 1960s, but farmers began diverting the rivers that fed the Aral Sea to irrigate their cotton crops. Soon, the sea began to shrink, and as it did, its salt content increased, killing the remaining fish population. Today, the Aral Sea is about 10% of its original size in the 1960s, and Moynak is a largely abandoned desert town. Number 7. The mystery of Skeleton Lake was discovered in 1942 when hundreds of skeletons were found at the bottom of a lake in India. Theories ranged from a failed Japanese invasion to an epidemic to ritual suicide. The bodies, it turned out, dated back to the year 850, and all of them had been killed by blows to the head. How exactly? A catastrophic hailstorm dropping hail the size of baseballs killed the entire expedition of about 200 people and left them there for over a millennium. Number 6. The main section of Vietnam's Doong Cave is big enough to house an entire New York City block, making it the largest cave in the world. Visiting the cave is like starring in your own Indiana Jones movie. It involves 2 days of trekking through a dense jungle just to get there. Then, to get down to the cave, tourists must climb up cliffs, swim through underground rivers, and crawl through narrow caverns. The whole adventure takes about a week and is closely supervised. Number 5. Salar de Uyuni is a desert, which shouldn't be all that impressive, but it's a salt desert, so instead of sand dunes, it's just a perfectly flat sheet of salt. On a clear day, the bizarre desert and its shallow puddles can look just like a mirror. The area was a prehistoric salt lake, but has long since dried up, and this is the result. Number 4. In 1939, an Italian electric company had a great idea to provide electricity to the region. They were going to build a dam high up in the Italian Alps, connecting 2 natural lakes and using their combined power for a hydroelectric plant. The only problem was that the new lake was going to flood out a village of 163 buildings and the people who lived in them. So they did it anyway, and now the only thing visible is the church's bell tower sticking up in the middle of the lake. Number 3. The Richert Structure, also known as the Eye of Africa, is still a mystery. It's a 30-mile wide dome that's viewable from space, but its origin is still under debate. It was originally thought to be a meteorite impact crater, but it could also be just a natural geological formation worn down over the past by harsh desert winds. Number 2. Mount Roraima is thought to be the inspiration for Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's 1912 novel, The Lost World, in which prehistoric creatures survive on a massive, strange plateau. Because that's pretty much what this mountain is. It's home to several different unique species, and it's isolated by sheer 400-meter high cliffs that are basically unscalable. About 70% of the ecosystem on this mountain, and the similar nearby mountains, are found only there and nowhere else. Number 1. Thor's Well is a sinkhole off the coast of Oregon that appears to be draining the sea. High tide waters violently rush over the edge of the hole, causing a seemingly endless waterfall that never seems to fill the well up. In reality, the well is being filled via holes in the top and bottom simultaneously, with waves rolling up underneath, making it look like it fills and empties endlessly.
What? Did you know that we have a countdown book featuring some of our best scripts on sale now? Links down below for the physical and ebook versions.
Well, that's it for this countdown, but catch you guys next time.